notice, and this is the typical copyright. We continue with mathematics syllabus for CSEC 2018 to 2027. Schedule of videos from section 1, number theory and computation. All 33 videos in that section have been published on YouTube in their entirety. Right now, section 2, consumer arithmetic, 12 videos in this section, and I'm right now working on the last one, the 12th one. After that, in November, we will look at sets. Then December 2024, measurements. January 2025, statistics. February 2025, algebra. March 2025, relations, functions, and graphs. April 2025, geometry and trigonometry. And finally, by May 2025, mid-May, vectors and matrices. And that will take care of all the objectives in this syllabus. Reminder once again that section 1, I have subdivided into 33 videos, and they are all published on YouTube in their entirety. This section, that is section 1, forms the foundation on which the rest of the syllabus is based. How well you can handle this section will predict how well you will do with the rest of the syllabus. So please make sure you look at these 33 videos in section 1 and that you understand them well if you intend to continue with the rest of the syllabus. Section 2, so far we have completed 11 of the 12 videos and published them. Therefore, we are now doing this 12th video, which is the last video in this section, and it deals with insurance and investments. All videos from sections 1 and 2 will be available on YouTube in their entirety. Well, as of now, it is just this 12th one remaining to be published. So we will now consider E, which is this from Objective 10 in section 2. Now note that CSEC CXC did not give any explanatory notes on this objective. So we will play it by ear, and because of that, I may actually cover more work than needed. So no explanatory notes. However, that will be fine since you are learning mathematics not just for CSEC, but for life applications in general. And this may be one area of mathematics that most people are not familiar with. So let's deal with insurance first. What is insurance? Insurance is a contract represented by a policy in which the policyholder receives financial protection or reimbursement against losses from an insurance company. The company pools clients' risk to make payments more affordable for the insured. Most people have some kind of insurance for car, house, healthcare, and life insurance. Insurance policies hedge against financial losses resulting from accidents, injury, or property damage. Insurance also helps cover costs associated with liability. Example, legal responsibility for damage or injury caused by a third party Now, the core components that make up most insurance policies are the premium, the deductible, and the policy limits. And so we will need to talk about those in order to do some calculations that I think CXC may require. Note that this is for your information so that you can understand the related calculations which will follow. You do not need to learn this definition for CSEC math, maybe in principles of business or even in principles of accounts, I don't know, for CSEC, but not for math. However, you need to understand these principles in order to do the calculations that follow. So categories of insurance policies. Many insurance policy types are available, and virtually any individual or business can find an insurance company willing to insure them for a price. Common personal insurance policy types are auto, that's car insurance, health, homeowners, and life insurance. All countries require car and vehicle insurance. Now, that's personal insurance policy. Now, business insurance policies for specific risk. Example, an electricity company may carry injury and death insurance in case a worker is accidentally electrocuted. Medical malpractice insurance covers injury and death-related liability resulting from healthcare providers' negligence or malpractice. Now, there are also insurance policies available for very specific needs, such as kidnap, ransom, extortion, K&R, identity theft, wedding liability, and cancellation insurance. Note again that this is for your information so that you can understand the related calculations which follow. Now, the main components of any insurance policy, which is a legal agreement document, first one we want to talk about is the premium. Now, what is that? A policy's premium is its price, typically monthly cost. Often, an insurer takes multiple factors into account to set a premium. So that is, how much money do you pay per month for the coverage by the insurance company? For example, in the case of car insurance premium, your history of property and auto claims, age, location, creditworthiness, and many other factors may vary from country to country, but those are factors that the insurance company will take into account if you want car insurance. How much premium would you pay? Then there is home insurance premiums, the value of your home, personal belongings, location, claims history, and coverage amount. All of those will be taken into account to determine the premiums. Health insurance premiums, age, sex, location, health status, and coverage levels. These are factors that the insurance company will take into account if you apply for health insurance. And then there is life insurance premium. Again, age, sex, tobacco use, health, whether you use alcohol or not, and the amount required. So I am saying again that all you need to know from this slide is that the periodic money you pay to an insurance company for an agreed upon benefit, if things go wrong, is called premium. So in all of that, I was just emphasizing what is premium. Secondly, policy limit. That means it is the maximum amount that the insurer will pay for a covered loss under a policy. Maximums may be set per period, per loss or injury, or over the life of the policy, also known as lifetime maximum. Typically, higher limits carry higher premiums, obviously. For a general life insurance policy, the maximum amount that the insurer will pay is referred to as the face value. That's another term you need to know. This is the amount paid to your beneficiary upon your death. So policy limit is the maximum amount of money that the insurance company will pay for a specific loss during a specified period. So that is policy limit. Now, a third component is called deductible. Deductible is a specific amount you pay out of pocket before the insurer pays any claim. Deductibles serve as deterrents to large volumes of small and insignificant claims. So if it's only a little bit, the insurance company will not pay that. You will pay that yourself. For example, a $1,500 deductible means you pay the first $1,500 toward any claims. Suppose your car's damage totals $2,500. You pay the first $1,500 and your insurer pays the remaining $1,000. Well, suppose it was $1,200. Then the insurer pays none because the deductible is $1,500. You pay the full $1,200. In the case of some health insurance, there may not be any upfront deductible, but the insurance company pays only 80% of the cost. For example, if your health insurance limit is $100,000 per year and you actually spent $20,000 for that year, the insurance company will pay or refund 80% of that, which is $16,000. So while there is not a deductible, they don't pay the full refund. Now, as you can see, the topic of insurance can become very involved, so we will briefly look at three situations. First one is car and or vehicle insurance. Example one. Jack owns a 5-seat family car worth $60,000. It has comprehensive insurance that costs Jack $4,000 paid annually with the following main conditions. One, a deductible of up to $1,500 damage to car per accident. Two, up to $500,000 per passenger injury or death in both vehicles, and car must only be used for the typical family matters. Now, I need to say a little about comprehensive insurance. There are two types of car insurance. One is called third party. That is the cheaper one. And if you are involved in such an accident, the insurance company will only pay to fix the other car that was involved in the accident. And then there is comprehensive insurance, where the insurance company pays for both cars and injuries in both vehicles. So Jack has comprehensive insurance. Now, Jack accidentally ran off the road in bad weather, so another car was not involved, and hit a tree. His passenger in the front seat was hurt, and her medical bills amounted to $8,600, while repairs to his car cost $7,500. If the car was used according to agreement, how much will the insurance company pay towards Jack's misfortune? In other words, if you didn't use the car according to agreement, like you were using it for hire, the insurance company will not pay any insurance. You have to use it for typical family matters. So, solution: repairs less deductible plus full medical costs. So the repairs cost $7,500. Deductible is $1,500. So you subtract the $1,500 from the $7,500, and you get 6,000 plus the medical bills, the full medical bills, and that will amount to $14,600. Now, example two, we are still on car and vehicle insurance. Tom owns a 7-seat SUV worth $70,000. It has comprehensive insurance that cost Tom $6,000 annually with the following main conditions: deductible of up to $2,500, damage to car per accident up to $500,000 for passenger injury or death in both vehicles, and the vehicle must be used for typical family matters. So Tom accidentally hit another vehicle. Nobody was hurt in his vehicle, but two persons in the other vehicle were hurt. The medical bills for those two injured were $6,800. It cost $3,400 to fix the other car and $2,200 to fix Tom's car. If Tom's vehicle was used according to agreement policy, how much will Tom's insurance company pay towards this accident or misfortune? So first of all, let's deal with Tom's repairs, which is $2,200 subtracted from $2,500, which is the deductible. So he gets no money to fix his car because that costs less than the deductible. Now, repairs for the other car is $3,400, and then full medical cost is $6,800. Now, we are assuming that Tom is wrong. He hit the other vehicle. So the insurance company for the other vehicle don't have to pay any money. Okay, so Tom's insurance company is expected to pay $10,200 towards this accident and medical cost. Now let's look at home insurance. Home insurance protects your home, other property structures, and personal possessions against natural disasters, unexpected damage, theft, and vandalism. Home insurance don't normally cover floods or earthquakes. These must be specified. Renter's insurance is another type of home insurance. Mr. R. Thomas has a house that is valued at $750,000. The building is insured against all natural disasters, including flood and earthquakes, with a deductible of $3,000. The contents are insured against theft and unexpected damage up to $50,000. His annual premium is $6,800. So a hurricane hits the area where Mr. Thomas lives and damages his house so that the repairs will cost $130,000. The contents of his home worth $90,000 were all damaged beyond repair or salvage. How much money can he expect from his insurance company? Let's deal with the repairs. It will be $130,000 less the deductible, which will be $127,000. Now, for the contents, all the contents of the home, furniture, fridge, stove, everything, bed and so on, worth $90,000, they were all destroyed. But the maximum that those were insured for was $50,000. So he cannot get $90,000. He will get the $50,000. And when you add those two, he can expect from his insurance company $177,000. Now, let's talk about life insurance. Many different types of life insurance are available to meet all sorts of needs and preferences. Depending on the needs of the person to be insured, the two most common choices are term and whole life. Those are two types of life insurance. So what is term insurance? It is designed to last for a certain number of years. So that's why it's term. And then it ends. You may choose the term when you take out the policy. Common terms are 10, 20, or 30 years. These have no savings value. You pay a certain amount of money regularly. That's the premium, say $125 per month. And if you die before the term is up, the insurance company pays the face value, say $250,000, to your beneficiaries. So while you are alive, you can't get any benefit from term insurance. It has no saving value. Whole life, on the other hand, is a type of permanent life insurance. It's not for a term. It accumulates a cash value in order to last the lifetime of the insured person. It allows the policyholder to use the cash value for many purposes, such as a source of loans or cash, or to pay policy premiums. So, term, you don't get any money back. When you die, if you die before the term is up, the insurance company should pay your beneficiaries, the person who survived you, your wife, children, and so on, the face value, whereas a whole life, part of the money goes towards savings. You can use that saving while you're alive. If you don't use it and it accumulates, and then you die, the insurance company will pay the face value plus the savings with the interest compounded. So let's consider this a little closer. Life insurance. Whole life insurance is a type of permanent life insurance, as we said before. Now, it is more expensive than term insurance for two reasons. Your term is your whole life, and secondly, part of your premium goes towards savings compounded regularly. We will now consider one question on each of these, that is, term and whole life. Term insurance. Mr. Harry Backus, age 32, and his wife, Olivia, age 30, have 3 young children, all under the age of 10. For the financial security of the family in the event of his early death, he wants to take out a 30-year term life policy with a face value of $400,000 at a monthly premium of $150. She agrees with the principle but considers that for the same face value, it may be better to take out a 10-year term at a monthly premium of $90, which can be renewed for 2 additional terms of 10 years each, but the premium will double each subsequent term. Now, this is not as difficult as it looks. Firstly, if Mr. Backus lives to be older than 65 and keeps up with paying the premiums, how much money will he save on the 30-year term when compared with the 3 10-year terms? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is, if Mr. Backus dies when he reaches 47 years old, which would have been the better plan? His or hers? Option 1, a 30-year term policy, $150, and option 2, a 10-year term, $90 per month, to be renewed for 2 additional terms of 10 years. Premium will double each subsequent term. So if Mr. Backus lives to be older than 65 Now remember, we are talking about 30 years. He is already 32. So if he lives to be 65, he would have passed the 30 years. And he keeps up paying the premium. How much money will he save on the 30-year term when compared with the 10-year plan? For option 1, 150 times 12 times 30, he would have paid $54,000. Now remember, this is term, so none of that is savings. For option 2, first 10-year plus second 10-year at 180 premium plus third 10-year at 360, and in that case it would be 75,600. So his plan would be that, our plan will be this one. If he lived out the 30 years, he would have saved 21,600. That is, if he lives out the 30 years. Second part of the question says, if Mr. Bacchus were to die at 47 years old, which plan would have been the better? Now let's see how this one works. Total premium for option 1 would be 150 times 12 times 15, because remember, from 35 years to 47 years is 15. That would cost $27,000. And the total premium for option 2 would be 90. This would be for the first year at $90 for 10 years, and the second 10 years at 180, but only 5 of that. This would have been $21,600. So if he dies 15 years into the policy, her plan would have been better. And option 2 would have cost $5,400 less. Now remember, the face value still has to be paid. In this case, if he dies at age 47, the face value has to be. But if in the previous case, if he lives out the 30 years, then no face value will be paid. Now, if you find this video useful and interesting, please like and share. Like and share. You may also consider subscribing to this channel. After all, it doesn't cost you anything, and it means a lot to me. So this was the one that we just looked at. A much more difficult question that I am sure CXC will not ask is, in which year will the total premium payments be the same? But we will just do it for the fun of it, just for the fun. However, you will need a spreadsheet program, but I am just doing this for your own education. I know some young adults, maybe some older adults may be looking at this video. So if you put that in a spreadsheet and we calculate the annual payment for 30 years as a 30-year term, we said that would be $54,000. If we go with the 3 10-year terms, we said that will be $75,600. If he lives out the 30 years, he would save $21,600. If he doesn't, depending on where in this schedule he dies, it may be better for her plan. So let us look at this closer in blocks of 10 years. This is the first 10 years, $150 per month pays that amount for the 10 years, $90 per month pays this for the 10 years. If he dies within 10 years, her plan would have been better. Next 10 years, the second 10 years, now her premium increases to 180, his still stays at 90. At the end of the second 10 year, his system would have cost $36,000, hers $32,400. So if he dies within 20 years, her plan still would have been a better one. The last 10 years, this premium now goes up to $360 per month. His still remains as 90, his plan. Note what happened here. Here and here. So not until the 22nd year will the total premium paid be equal. So if he dies before the 22nd year, our plan is better. If he dies after the 22nd year, then his plan will be better. So we are still considering example 4. We just looked at it in different ways. The last question, which I said CXC will never ask you, in which year will the total premium payments be the same? On second thought, CXC could ask that question if they provide you with that spreadsheet that we just looked at, part of the spreadsheet, say from the 18th to the 23rd years. If they provide that part of the spreadsheet, they could still ask you a question on that. I don't know if they would. Life insurance, now this is example 5. We are still on life insurance. Now we are talking about whole life as opposed to term that we were talking before. Whole life insurance guarantees payment of a death benefit to beneficiaries in exchange for level, regularly due premium payments. The policy includes a saving portion called cash value alongside the death benefit. So a portion of the premium goes towards saving. And of course, the ratio of that savings decreases as time goes by. However, the savings do accumulate compound interest. Growing cash value is an essential component of whole life insurance. The savings of the cash value may be withdrawn or borrowed while the insured is still alive. So the whole life is for your whole life. If you die, the insurance company pays the face value. But while you are alive, you can borrow, you can withdraw the savings part. For obvious reasons, whole life is more expensive than term insurance. Let us say that a term of 30 years, the face value is $400,000 with premium of $150 per month. It has no cash value and terminates in 30 years. For whole life, the same face value of $400,000 will have a higher premium of $290 per month and last until the insured person dies. On average, this offers a saving or cash value of $140 per month at compound interest. So let's look at example 5. Mr. Akash Kumar, age 25, took out a whole life insurance policy with a premium of $290 per month and a face value of $400,000. On average, the savings or cash value is $140 per month, compounded annually at a rate of 6% per annum. If he dies at age 30 and never use any of the cash value, how much should the insurance company pay to his beneficiary? So the approach is, since it's whole life, the insurance company will pay out the face value plus all savings for 5 years compounded annually at 6% per annum. For part 2, we will work out for each year at compound interest with annual deposits. Now remember, we looked at this before, how to calculate compound interest using a formula. But in this case, we will just do it for the 5 years. Year 1, so the interest is 6%, monthly deposit is $140, That's the saving part of the insurance. And so year one, he would have paid that. The interest is this. And so for the second year, this will be the new principal, included the premium, which would give us that amount. Interest is this. At the end of second year, that will be the savings. Third year, and so on. Fourth year, that will be the savings. Fifth year begins with this, that plus the saving values for the fifth year, and interest will come up to this amount. So that will be the cash value. If he turns in the policy, he will get that only. But if he dies at this time, his beneficiary, wife, children, and so on, will get that savings value plus the face value. So as we said, that was the savings value that we just calculated, this part, and the face value is this. So his beneficiary should get $410,038.54. Now, for your information, okay, now this is an extension of that question, and I don't think CXC will ever ask you this question, but it's for your own education and knowledge. And as I said, some adults, young adults, may be looking at this video and may find this useful. So, same insurance policy, it is life insurance or whole life. He dies at age 60. He never used any of the cash value. How much should the insurance company pay his beneficiary? So it is whole life, so they would have to pay the face value, the full face value, plus all the savings for 35 years compounded monthly at 6%. We can do this part here, find the compound interest, $140 a month for 35 years at 6% per annum. We can do that with the formula that we learned before, or we can use a spreadsheet, or we can go online and easily find what that will be. So in this case, we are going to go online. Remember, I told you, you are doing this not just for CXC, but for your general education. So if you go online, you could find that here. I will post this in the description of this video. And you enter the savings, the interest, the years, calculated monthly, and you press calculate. This is what comes up. That grows to $200,596.72. That's your amount, your $140 a month plus interest. The interest alone is this. So that plus the face value. So the payout will be $400,000. That's the face value plus this $140 per month for 35 years compounded monthly at 6%. And the payout to your beneficiary will be $600,596.74. Which brings us now to the next topic, this section, which is investment. Now, this thing that we did here with insurance can also be done without being attached to an insurance policy. So if you were to invest or save $140 a month for 35 years, compounded monthly at 6%, yes, that money will grow into this amount, and that will be the interest. So we are now moving from insurance to investment. And life insurance whole life insurance is a type of investment. So investments, what is investment? It's defined as the commitment of resources to achieve later benefits. If an investment involves money, then it can be defined as a commitment of money to receive more money later. That's an investment. An investment always concerns the outlay of some resource. Today, for example, time, effort, money, or an asset in the hopes of a greater payoff in the future than what was originally input. So you invest something now, and later on, 1 year, 2 year, 10 years, you expect it to increase in value or benefit. Investments usually do not come with guarantees of appreciation. It is possible to end up with less money than what you started with, or with no money at all, depending on the type of investment. Now remember, this is just for your information so you can understand the related calculations which follow. You do not need to learn these details for CSEC math. Types of investment. There is stocks and equities. A share of stock is a piece of ownership in a public or private company. By owning stock, the investor may be entitled to dividend generated from the net profit of the company. As the company becomes more successful and other investors seek to buy that company stock, its value also appreciates and can be sold for capital gains. So stocks is investment, buying a share in a company, and if the company is successful, you can get a share of the profit, and also your stocks will increase in value. Now, bonds and fixed income securities. A bond is an investment that often demands an upfront investment, then pays recurring amount over the life of the bond. Then when the bond matures, the investor receives the capital invested in the bond. Bond investments are mechanisms for certain entities to raise money. Many government entities and companies issue bonds. Then investors can contribute capital to earn a yield. So bonds are different from stocks. Stocks, you invest in an already established company. Bonds, you invest to form part of the establishment of a company. Now remember, this is just for your information, so you could understand later on when we come to the calculation part. A third type of investment is index funds and mutual funds. Instead of selecting each individual company to invest in, index funds, mutual funds, and other types of funds often aggregate specific investments to craft one investment vehicle. For example, an investor can buy shares of a single mutual fund that holds ownership in small cap emerging market companies instead of having to research and select each company on its own. So you have to go through an organization that handles index funds or mutual funds. So that's the third type. Now, real estate, we talked a lot about that already in one of the previous videos in this same section. Now, real estate investments are often broadly defined as investments in physical, tangible spaces that can be utilized. Land can be built on, office buildings can be occupied, warehouses can store inventory, and residential properties can house families, can be rented out. Real estate investments may encompass acquiring sites, developing sites for specific uses, or purchasing ready-to-occupy operating sites. Again, you don't need to learn this for CXC math exam, but it may come in useful in another subject or later on in life. Still on investment, there is something called commodities. These are often raw materials such as agriculture, energy, or metals. Investors can choose to invest in the actual tangible commodities, example, owning a bar of gold, or can choose alternative investment products that represent digital ownership. And there is something called gold ETF. Commodities can be an investment because they are often used as inputs to society. Consider oil, gas, or other forms of energy. During periods of economic growth, companies often have greater energy needs to ship more products or manufacture additional goods. In addition, consumers may have greater demand for energy due to travel. In this example, the price of commodities fluctuates and may yield a profit for an investor. Again, this is for your information. You don't need this for CXC math. But when we talk about the calculations later on, you will understand what we are talking about. Types of investment. 6, collectibles. A less traditional form of investing, collecting or purchasing collectibles, and this involves acquiring rare items in anticipation of those items becoming in higher demand, ranging from sports memorabilia to comic books. These physical items often require substantial physical preservation. Considering that older items usually carry higher value, coins, stamps, paintings, and so on. Now, these are some types of investments, but these will suffice for now. We will not use all of them. That was an introduction to types of investments. As I said, you don't need to know all of these, just for your information, so the calculation that follows makes sense. What is ROI? ROI stands for return on investment. So the primary way to gauge the success of an investment is to calculate the return on investment, the ROI. It is measured as the current value of the investment minus the original value of the investment divided by its original value multiplied by 100%. ROI allows different investments across different industries, remember we looked at 6 such industries, to be appropriately compared. For example, an investment of $2,000 in stocks increased to $2,400 in a year. Its ROI will be 2,400 minus 2,000 divided by 2,000, which will be 400 over 2,000, and that's 20%, which is very good. Now, a property was bought for $850,000 and later sold for $1 million. So its ROI is the current value minus the initial investment divided by your initial investment, which will be 150,000 over 850,000, which amounts to 17.6% ROI. So the stocks did a little better in the year than this, but both of those are extremely very good ROI. Is there a difference among investment, speculation, and savings? Yes. Speculation is short-term and involves lots of risk. Savings that usually involves compound interest is long-term and involves no risk. Investment is somewhere between these two. It is long-term with some risk. Again, this is just for your information. Keep in mind that this is a math class for CSEC. So this topic could get very complicated, as CXC did not specify how much you need to know for this. So we will simply consider 2 examples here. Any question that CXC brings on this topic, you will have to reason out with the knowledge that you have gained so far. So let's just look at two examples. Example one, Mr. Aaron Matthews bought a house for $460,000. He then rented it out at $1,500 per month for 4 full years. During the 5th year, he renovated it for $70,000 and then sold it in that same year for $645,000. Calculate his average annual ROI, taking into account the full 5 years. Well, our approach is we will calculate the total expenditure, we will calculate the total income, we will subtract the income from the expenditure, that will be his profit. We will put that profit over the expenditure and express that as a percentage to get the ROI for the 5 years, and then we will divide the ROI by 5 to get his annual ROI. So it's not as difficult as it looks. Total expenditure, initial price plus the renovation. Total income would be what he sold the building for after he renovated it, plus the rental, $1,500 for 12 months, 4 years, which would be that. So the profit will be this minus that, and that would give us 187,000. We express that 187,000 as a fraction of his investments, which is the 530,000, and that gives 35.28% for 5 years. Divide that by 5 years and you get 7.1% average annual ROI, return on investment. Now, that is not bad at all. As a matter of fact, an ROI of 5 to 7% is considered good. Example 2, Nicole Sanders bought 15,000 common stock equity in a company at $15 per share. At the end of the first year, the company paid a dividend of 8%. For the second year, the company paid out a dividend of 5%. At the end of the second year, she sold all her shares at $19 per share. Calculate her overall profit in this transaction and the average annual ROI. So for part A, we will calculate year 1 dividend, year 2 dividend, sale of stocks, total income, then we will subtract the expenditure from the total income. So year 1, $15 at 15,000 at 8%, and so our dividend is $18,000. Year 2, same investment at 5%, our dividend is that amount. She sold all her stocks at $19, 15,000 of them, and she got this amount. So her total income would be those three, which is $314,250. But then we would have to subtract our investment, which would be 15,000 common stock at $15, which would be this. So her total amount of money she got out of it was that. What she invested was that. And so she got a profit of $89,250. Now, that's not bad at all. We want to find her ROI. So we said that she got this amount profit. Now, recall she invested this amount of money. So her ROI will be profit over expenditure express that as a percentage. So that's her profit, expenditure as a percentage. She gets almost 40% ROI. If we find that for annual, we will divide by the number of years, which is 2 years. And so she gets 19.8% average annual ROI. Now, that is considered extremely good, considering that 10% is considered strong. And that brings us to the end of this video, video 12, based on objective 10 in section 2. I know it's an extremely long video, but we had to cover many things. And I don't know how much of this you will need actually for CSEC. Just look at it and try to learn as much as you can. And that brings us to the end of section 2. So we have now covered section 1 and section 2. All those videos are available on YouTube in their entirety.